Giselle,
and Maki.
and this video we're going to go over the basic of the neuron. The neuron is the basic unit in the nervous system. Simple animal like a nematode worm, they only have 302 neurons, but what they allow them to do is to take information from their surrounding and respond to that information.
If you look at how those 302 neurons are connected, it's very complex. Now, human are quite a bit bigger and we have 100 billion neurons in our body. Most of those are centered in the central nervous system, in the brain and the spinal cord. But the basic unit of our nervous system is the same. It's the neuron.
If you look at the neuron anatomy and remove all the other neurons to the center is going to be what's called the cell body. This is a typical cell, it's metabolizing cell. It's taking an energy, using that energy, and it's so going to have a nucleus.
It is going to have a Golgi apparatus, mitochondria. It is typical cell, but there are extension of those cell body called the dendrites.
Those dendrites are connected to the other neurons and they are taking information in the form of neurotransmitter. In fact, this whole side of the neuron is receiving information.
When then have the axon is where we're transmitting information. It begins at the axon hillock. It is going to move to the terminal. Now remember, the terminals, there's synapses that connect us to other neurons.
But the signal is going to move in this direction. We're taking in information from the dendrites to the cell body, and then we can send information to the next neuron.
But certain axons in our body are really long, and for that information too quickly, we will wrap them in the myelin sheaths. It has one cell that wrap around it. The way it works is we put the voltage gate channel between it acts to isolate the nerve.
It allows the information to travel more readily down that axon, and we generally say if you have an axon that's wrapped in myelin sheath, we call that a nerve fiber inside our body now.
We're taking in information as well, so there are going to be another neuron that's connected to both the cell body dendrites of that cell, but there's going to be a gap between these two, and we call the synapses. It's connection between neurons.
Neurons are classified in two ways. First way is due to their structural classification. So if we take the cell body of a typical neuron like this multipolar neuron, then we can figure out what type of neuron is find the cell body and figure out how many poles are coming off of that cell body. So if we count them, we have a number of different dendrites that are coming off of this neuron. And we have at one axon that's coming off, and so we call that a multipolar neuron. This is the most common neuron that we have in our body.
Look at the next one. We find the cell body again. How many poles do we have coming off of it? We've got the axon coming out and dendrites coming in, and so we call this a bipolar neuron. Bipolar neurons are very rare. They transmit information from the receptors in our eyes, receptor in our nose.
If we look back at the next one, here's the cell body you can see there. There's only one pole coming off. That is actually a fused axon and dendrite, and we call that a unipolar neuron. Now, in vertebrates, it's sometimes referred to as the pseudo-unipolar neuron. These are going to be the most of the sensory neuron in our body. They're taking information in and transmitting the back into the central nervous system.
If you look on the next one, if you look at that, you can see there's no axon in it. As that also, we call that an axonic neuron. These are found in the brain, and they are not super understood. Now, there are a lot other structural classification, but these are the general ones that you are going to find a typical anatomy class.
Now, neurons can also be classified according to their functional classification. Those that take information, stimulus coming in from our environment, and then the response that we have.
So if we kind of move that to the central nervous system, we're looking at the cross-section of the spine. So we're taking information in from receptors, so this could be in the skin, for example, touch receptors,
Heat receptors,
pain receptors.
and so we have to transmit that information to the central nervous system. So this neuron that brings information in are sometimes referred to as sensory neurons or afferent neurons.
You can see this is a unipolar neuron, and it's transmitting the information into the central nervous system.
And then we have information going back out. We're sending information out to receptors in our body.
Could be the muscle,
Could be glands.
and we're going to call those motor neurons. They're moving away from the center. Sometimes we refer to those as afferent neuron. As well, now there should be connection between those neurons. Those aren't all the neurons we have in our body.
And so we also have this connection in the middle, and those are going to be called interneurons. So that's the neuron. How did you do? Can you remember the different parts of the neuron? Do you remember that these are the dendrites, the cell body?
Remember what type of a neuron? This is not go back and rewind it.
Those are neurons,
Those are the basics.
and we hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching.